Mike Briggs is our cattle market analyst this week. Data released Wednesday shows beef prices soared to new highs in August. Lean and extra lean ground beef rose to $5.62 per pound, a jump of 22 cents from July. More drastic, the cost of all fresh retail beef increased nearly 26 cents to $5.81 per pound. As you've heard in our episodes this summer, Nebraska's cattle, which account for about a quarter of the state's soybean meal, are at historically high levels of value. The drought that destroyed that industry's feed source is now over. This week's U.S. Drought Monitor from UNL shows only 8% of Nebraska is listed as abnormally dry, the lowest percentage since August 30th, 2011. We talked with Mike Wednesday morning and first asked him to give us an overview of what the markets have been like.
Market's been really volatile, pretty sloppy. You've got the dollar rallying, you've got other things going on that are kind of hindering our exports a little bit. Then you've had maybe a little uptick in supply of fat cattle, and it's been really volatile on a week-by-week basis as whatever's available in front of that packer. So it's been kind of interesting as of late.
More or less, though, this is still a supply issue?
It absolutely is a supply issue, and it will continue to be and probably become more of an issue as we go through time because they're can't make cattle that fast.
Can you still see that chart climb maybe a little bit farther here as we go into 2015?
I think so, because I think we're going to be really short cattle fourth quarter and first quarter of next year, because every single month since May you've had a serious reduction in placements compared to history, and that's going to show up. And it's going to show up in the fourth and the first quarter of next year, I think. Rather
than asking where the ceiling is, where's the bottom at here? Where's the floor at in this market?
I can't see how beef can go under, or live cattle can go under 140. That's a pretty big fall from here, but I think 140, 145 probably stops at top side. I don't know, how much is the consumer willing to pay? I'm pretty sure we'll make a run at $170 cash. We might even try a little higher than that before it's over. Just kind of depends.
How much is the feed yard willing to pay to stock these animals?
That's the thing that's going to take all the fun out of it. We're going to run all the margin out of these feeder cattle because people have made money. There's a lot of money behind them. There's always that constant pressure to stay full. And my concern is we run all the margin out of the feeder cattle and the price will be high and you still won't make any money.
All right, slaughter numbers, could they increase as we enter fall at all?
I think we've seen a little uptick here and we might see it stay up here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks. But I think as we get towards the end of October, into November, November's always a tough month. I think supplies are really going to fall off and it's really going to be interesting. Plus, as we've talked before, beef has become kind of a Christmas meat, and you always see middle meats get really high and really hard to come by in that December timeframe, anytime after Thanksgiving. I think this year could get really interesting.
What about weights? Where have they been and where could they go as we see temperatures cool off?
That's a great question. Weights have been going up astronomically. I've seen some of the biggest, we've shipped some of the biggest cattle we've ever shipped out of this feed yard. And it's a simple function of math and good weather. Our cost of gains are down. We're getting a lot of money for these cattle when we sell them. You just keep putting it on. As long as that spread's there, you just keep putting it on. And we're seeing these cattle get to 15, 16, 1,700 pounds almost on a regular basis.
Now, there isn't a point where that gets too sloppy?
When your customer, the packer, says, I don't want those anymore, right now they're just taking anything you got. There was a time where those big cattle, they would dock you pretty hard, but that's pretty much gone by the wayside.
All right, input costs, describe where they are right now.
Lower, and I think going to continue to be that way. We're going to have this gargantuan corn crop. You've seen two new ethanol plants come online, or not new ethanol plants, but 2 ethanol plants in Aurora come online. So you're going to have a good supply of byproduct, at least in the eastern half of the state, and you're going to have corn everywhere. So I think your feed costs are really going to be in really good shape. The thing that's interesting to me is your alfalfa. So much alfalfa's been ripped up. Your alfalfa hay price seems to have a pretty good floor under it, but you can get pretty cheap corn silage now.
Have you bought corn into the future, or are you still just going as you need it?
I'm going hand to mouth. You're seeing a situation where this harvest is delayed and the farmer, who's pretty well heeled, doesn't want to sell at these prices because it's not profitable for him. So you've seen a really tight and a really out of line basis to the positive side. So to buy a bunch of that, I don't want any part of it, because I still contend Once harvest starts, this market's got nowhere to go but down.
You mentioned the strength of the dollar. How do you think that's affecting the overseas buyers?
Oh, I think it's affecting them dramatically. It's affecting them in two ways. The buyers aren't buying very much, and we're importing a lot more beef from like Australia, which we need more lean, and that's fine, but so we're getting a lot of lean beef in as an import. I think on an export deal, that's going to be a problem as we go forward, because that's a real challenge for some countries.
Cattle on Feed report will be Friday. You know, Nebraska and Texas have kind of been battling for that top spot, but as a state, do you feel like Nebraska's positioned really well here with the size of this corn crop going forward?
There's no question. There's a lot of issues there. There's just a plain water issue in Texas. There's feed yards in areas of Texas running out of the water because they've sucked the Ogallala Aquifer dry in their area. We've got water, we've got corn, we've got packing plants. It's all shifting back this way, and I think Nebraska, Iowa are in very good position to capitalize on that.